we're going to play with Julep. Chris is going to follow what I tell her to do, and we'll see how Julep likes this and how Chris does. So we're going to start by having her stand nice and square, and we're going to ask her to stay. Now, she's a 6.5-year-old tricolored Cavalier, and she has significant heart issues. So this is a perfect exercise for her. It's not going to stress her out, and we're going to be able to turn on, like I said, all of her muscles except for head and neck. So now what I want you to do is take your left hand, Chris, and put it on her collar. Right? And that's just telling her to stay with a physical, I feel this. Oh, okay, you want me to stay here. Now I want you to take your right hand and put it on her hip and pull her slightly to you, enough that you feel her muscles contract, but not enough that she has to step out or fall over. We're going to count to 3, which you've already done, so that's good. Now what I want you to do is gently let her go. Yep, you don't want her to like fall because you let her go too quick, and go the other direction. So, yep, on her hip. Again, perfect. Count to 3. You don't want to do this fast, because then you're just turning on the receptors between the muscles, and it's a quick like shock, right? The Golgi tendon organs. What we want to do is have those muscles contract and hold. So now what I want you to do is move up to her mid chest and do the same thing. Come on, Julep, you're doing good, baby girl. There you go. Make sure you're praising her so she knows that what she's doing is correct, right? We want them to know the difference when I push the dog and say, okay, get out of my way, versus stay. And I want you to contract your muscles. Great. Now move up to her shoulders. So like the point of her shoulder, there you go. And do it again. By doing that, we're getting front end, we're getting rear end, we're getting her trunk. Beautiful. That's a great job. Now what I want you to do is put your hands on both of her shoulders, and you're going to pull her straight back. Again, tell her to stay. Praise her when she stays. Good girl, Julep. Oh, don't stop. Stay, stay, stay. Good girl. And then I want you to take your thumbs and your thenar process, so the bottom part underneath your thumb, yep, and go behind her hips. So now you're sliding your hands back. Yep, back a little bit further. Back a little bit further. Think about your thumbs like goalposts. There you go. Yep. Now wrap around and gently push her forward. Ask her to stay. Tell her she's good. She's like, do you want me to sit? I don't get this, Mom. So what you might need to do is tickle under her, between her legs. There you go. Like her belly, so that she knows you want her to stay. There you go. And push up slightly. It looks like you may be pushing down. So if you're pushing up slightly, she should go forward. There you go. Beautiful. Can you feel the difference? Wonderful. Yes. Now she's like, I get this. This is what you want. You're pushing my weight forward. Beautiful. All right, let's add one more thing, because I always love to add things. Now what I want you to do is go back up to her shoulders, but just on one side. And I want your direction of pull to be from her shoulder to the opposite hip. So now we're getting the diagonals, and that is going to work on the obliques in our abdominal muscle, the obliques of our abdominal muscles. Excellent. As well as working front and rear leg. And then the other way. So now going from her left shoulder toward her right hip. And then do it from her pelvis, going from hip to opposite shoulder. Remember to kind of come up as you're doing it. She's like, don't get that thermometer, Mom. You're really close right there. There you go. Good girl. Remember, with your other hand, you can always tickle her belly if she wants to sit, as a gentle reminder of, I'm asking you to stay, and I won't have a thermometer in my hand. Good job. Awesome. Very good job. Yay!
Nice job, Mom and Julep.
Awesome.
She's really cute.
So that was interesting for me, because it was much more challenging than I thought it would be. I mean, I've been doing rhythmic stabilization, I thought, for most of my career, but not that way. And I noticed that Julep was really working, and it was asymmetrical. So when I would push on one side, she could hold better than on another side. Also, as I touched different points in her body, she was more stable, for example, through her shoulders and kind of that rib cage, but in her rear end, she was pretty floppy and just wanted to sit down. I also noticed that her back really roached up or rounded out as we were doing this.
Yep.
And I don't know, is that a sign of weakness, Dr. McCauley, or is that her engaging her abdominal muscles to hold?
She should be able to stay square and do that. So unless she was uncomfortable and that was causing her to roach, it was probably a sign of weakness, especially because you were pushing up, right? If you were pushing straight and she was roaching, maybe, but my guess is her epaxial muscle, so the muscles above her transverse processes and ribs, is weak. And if she stays in a roach position, the muscles and her hip axial muscles, so the ones underneath, are going to be stronger and shorter. And that tells us as a diagnostic test, okay, you need to be doing an exercise with her, like front feet raised, nose to the sky. So Cookie's nose to the sky, to engage those epaxial muscles.